victory. The man behind Samoa Joe's Nation of Violence was finally revealed at Victory Road. All the clues from the trademark towel to the number 13 and the FTW logos helped us solve the puzzle, which was confirmed on Sunday with the appearance of Taz. Now it all makes sense. So many parallels to the careers of the Samoan Submission Machine and the Human Suplex Machine, the no-frills ring gear, the physically intense in-ring style. Taz and Samoa Joe, they are cut from the same mold. They're now officially together.
History lesson. Many years ago, I wrestled for a little promotion called ECW. And during my time in ECW, unfortunately for me, I sustained some career-shortening neck and spinal cord injuries, which prevented me to compete and do what I love best, is perform in front of you all and wrestle. So the bottom line is that was cut short for me. And as you all know, I spent some time and called hundreds upon hundreds of matches for the WWE as a color commentator. But, as cool as that was, I felt like there was a little bit more I could do. So one night, I'm sitting home, and I flick on TNA Wrestling. So I'm watching TNA and I see this raw, this untapped, this force, this barbaric energy loaded with credibility and potential. And I swear to God, it took me back a decade. What I saw was the second coming of Taz. What I saw was Samoa Joe. So I'm watching Samoa Joe and I'm saying, you know what? Even though Samoa Joe and myself had a lot in common, I'm thinking, you know what? There's just one difference between Joe and I, and that is Joe at times would show remorse for his opponent where I was not capable of that. I never showed remorse. So I reached out to Samoa Joe. I had a conversation with Samoa Joe and I said, you know what, my man? I can bring you to that next level. I'm the one that's gonna teach you. As cool as you might think it's to be over with the boys in the back, that doesn't make you money. That doesn't give you championships. You wanna hurt people. You wanna win championships. You wanna be on top, not be Mr. Popular. So next thing you know, I become the teacher, Joe becomes the student, and Joe is on everybody's radar. And the one man that pursued the most aggressive to obtain Samoa Joe's services was the 13-time World Heavyweight Champion named Kurt Angle. So, for that, Samoa Joe and myself are forever indebted to Kurt Angle and the prestigious Main Event Mafia. So here's the deal. Let me lay this out for you right now. What's gonna happen tonight? Tonight, Joe brings some more gold to the Mafia. Tonight, Joe will become the next TNA X Division champion. I got a message for you, Homicide. Listen up, amigo. Beat Joe if you can, brother, but survive if he lets you.
Today, I'll never forget looking in that ring last Sunday night and seeing Samoa Joe caught in that scorpion, and it looked like it was over. And here was a man who wreaked so much violence on everybody, and I'm thinking, how can this happen? And then we looked down the ramp, here came Taz, and then Samoa Joe's face just lit up, and we saw him get to his feet and turn it around, and that is what Taz has brought to the Nation of Violence, Samoa Joe.
X-Division title win over Suicide on Impact. And we open Impact's in-ring action with a championship match as Homicide defends the X-Division gold against Samoa Joe and his advisor Taz as they attempt to carry out, yes, the first order from the Godfather, Kurt Angle.
You know, when they were having this pursuit for these belts, they knew they had to go one by one, take them in stride. They started off with the tag team titles and, of course, the Legends title. And I've even heard people talk, well, what about the other belts? Were they not important to the Main Event Mafia? You better believe they were important, one thing at a time. But this is one of the reasons that they pursued Samoa Joe. One of the reasons that when they knew that this advisor got a hold of Joe, that they had to have him. Because they knew this former X-Division champion could do something so great and bring that belt to him. And I tell you what, it's just one by one, and look at Samoa Joe just going right at it, Homicide.
Homicide uses his quickness to avoid the kick from Samoa Joe. And Joe trying to get an angle to go for a suicide dive. And as he flies out to the floor, quickly Homicide back in the six-sided ring. And then he hits it.
Tope con hilo there by Homicide. One thing about it, though, I think Samoa Joe was able to just cut that distance short enough where Homicide wasn't able to hit the back in full explosion. And that's the kind of thing that Joe can do. But you can see Homicide, though, looking for that advantage. And you mentioned it. Someone who just got that X-Division title, just cashed in that case, and he doesn't want to lose it tonight. But wow, what a first match to defend your title against.
Don, I think you felt the vibe. I think you really understood it today. Sort of an uneasy feeling around the Impact Zone, almost in anticipation of what the Main Event Mafia, wow, is going to bring and what they are going to do tonight on Impact now that they have the championship belts that they do and all that power.
Well, it is. It's just mind-numbing what they're doing here at TNA, and they've had a game plan from the beginning, and they never swayed from it. You know, we've said it so many times. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it. They did both. I'll tell you what, they ran the play just the way they drew it up, and that's why the Main Event Mafia right now in control. And let me tell you, there are some nervous people around TNA management, Mick Foley, Jeff Jarrett, everybody, like you said, in the back that's wondering what's going to happen now. Well, sit back and watch.
Joe tries to follow up that big knee drop. Homicide cuts him off, comes flying off the ropes, but Joe's there, prepared, ready. Caught him with the snap slam right into the pin, but 2 count only.
You can see Homicide right now frustrated. I mean, Samoa Joe's just one of those. He's just so unpredictable. He's just such a violent, brutal force, and when he gets it rolling, there's nothing like it. I mean, I've just never seen anything like it. Look at this. Here he goes.
Back to the basics. Abdominal stretch applied. Dead center, middle of the ring by the Samoan submission machine. And as he torques on that submission hold, you see the eye contact that he makes with his advisor at ringside, Taz.
Just going to the basics there, Mike. Just doing that ground game. Just pulling back on the body of Homicide in directions it's not meant to go. Homicide, though, using that small size to his advantage at that point to get out of it.
You referred to the match this past Sunday involving Samoa Joe and Sting, and I still can't get over how the appearance of Taz at ringside was almost like that on-off switch, and it just brought